Hi, my name is Nola Brantley, and I'm from Los Angeles, California. I served as a leader in the nonprofit sector for 15 years, and for the last 7 years, I've been training professionals across disciplines with an emphasis on self-care. How do you gauge when you're in your green, yellow, or red zone? A really important thing for us to know how to do. And it can really help us direct our days and activities in ways that really match where we're at. So, the first thing we want to make sure we're aware of is who we are in these different zones. So, who are we when we're at our best? How do we think? How do we communicate? How do we respond? How do we interact with others? What does that look like when we're not at our best, but not at our worst? So kind of in the middle, that yellow zone. And then what does that look like when we're in that red zone? How are we thinking then, communicating with others and interacting? So the first thing would be to get familiar with who we are in those different zones, the green zone, the yellow zone, and the red zone. How do we think? How does our body feel? How do we communicate? How do we engage with others when we're in those different zones? And then once we are aware of that and we have that down, we can use that to really inform some of the activities that we do throughout our days and weeks, both professionally and personally. So on a personal note, for example, if I'm going to hang out with my daughter and do some fun stuff, I want to do that when I'm in my green zone so that we can have the best possible time. I don't want to do that when I'm in my caution zone, and definitely not when I feel like I'm at my worst self. When I'm in my professional world, say I know I have a really challenging meeting with a team member that we're going to have to talk about some pretty difficult stuff. Again, I want to do that when I'm in my green zone so that I could be fully present and really be able to handle the challenges that are coming my way in the best way possible. Now, if I have to do notes all day at the office, then maybe it's okay if I'm in my yellow zone, maybe even my red zone. I'm not going to be communicating with anybody. I'm not going to be doing necessarily strategic thinking, but just really doing some busy work. Maybe I'm in my red zone and I decide this is not a good time for me to be at home or the office. I'm going to go on a nice, lovely walk and see if I can shift the zone that I'm in. But either way, becoming aware of who we are in these different zones of green, yellow, and red will allow us to more strategically decide on the activities, that we're going to do throughout our day, both in our personal and professional realm, so that we can always show up as our best self.